I'm Debs.
Hi, I'm Tracy.
And we are
Your Picture Mine.
Wow, Tracy, people have actually listened and watched our
I
first
know.
episode. Thank you so much. It's so very good of
But
you.
have you noticed
What?
the view? It's been views on YouTube that have been greater than the downloads on Spotify, which means they want to see our ugly mugs.
I want to see the faces. Thank God we've had our roots done.
Again, thanks, Hayley.
Thanks, Jenna. So you've been all right? Is everything, what's been happening since I saw you last?
My God, I have been so busy.
Can imagine, opening the seasons.
Yes, so transfer window's been really busy. Been doing a lot of work with London City. Just signed Nikita Paris, so some real big pinch me moments.
Good.
You know, being able to work with some real big talents in the women's game. But yeah, it's just been...
So it's going to be a good season for you.
It's been exciting, and it's what you want in the transfer window. You want it to be busy.
Yeah, you do. Of course you do. You want to make sure everybody's safe and secure and in their houses and that.
It's so rewarding when you get them all settled.
Good.
I know. And we're doing a great job of that.
So the girls are away pre-season?
Yep, away over in Netherlands. You can catch it on their Instagram.
Nice.
And any of their other socials. You'll be able to catch a little glimpse of what they're getting up to.
Talking about socials, Tracy, so we've got an Instagram account. It's called Your Picture Mine, obviously.
Yeah.
So if any of you want to ask us any questions or want us to find out things on the next episode and stuff, just drop us a wee line. Just say hello.
Exactly.
Also, on the YouTube front, we have so many views and we have so little subscribers.
Yeah, so remember, press that button.
If you can press that subscribe button, ding dong that notification bell, and give it a thumbs up, we'd be absolutely delighted. Tell your pals and all.
Yeah.
So we have a guest today.
Yes.
And his name is John Warrington.
John Warrington is a producer, director, presenter and writer. Best known for presenting the Masters Football, director of Hatton versus Mayweather, The Full Story, and more recently he's been working on a documentary about Emiliano Salah. Founder and CEO of Crafty Entertainment and co-founder of 360 Sports TV, John is also a lifelong Manchester United supporter and was friends with the late George Best. Welcome, John.
Hello, John.
But we are going to start with kind of serious.
Yes.
On a more serious note. So obviously we kind of touched on it there, John. Your current project, you're working on a documentary about Emiliano Salah, which is obviously quite a tragic story as well. But obviously, me being in player care, I always like to look beyond the footballer and what the actual person is behind that footballer. So can you maybe, obviously we're doing the documentary, talk to us a little bit about what you found out about Salah as a person?
Yeah, so and I think that's a really good question to start this, Tracy, because when you mention his name, the first thing and the only thing that people know is that he was killed in a plane crash.
Yeah.
People don't know much about his life, his upbringing. He was born and brought up in a village about 300 miles north of Buenos Aires. Was in love with football, I guess, as soon as he could walk. And like a lot of young Argentinian players at that age, Diego Maradona was his hero. But he had real talent, but very ambitious to be a footballer, but such a kind and humble person is everything that we've learned about him. Played locally in Argentina before, at youth level, before coming over to Europe, to France, first of all. But there's a lot of things around, particularly South American agents, potentially third-party ownership, a number of different agents all claiming ownership of the same player. And what I guess the real upshot of the story is that it wasn't just a plane crash that killed Emiliano, it was greed. And I think that's going to be one of the core themes of the film.
Yeah. No, just on things that I've read, stuff that's out there already, yeah, that seems to be the theme of it. And obviously it's nice to know that we're going to learn more about him as a person. Maybe a little bit more about him as a footballer as well, because a lot of people, as you say, will only really know about him due to the plane crash and the circumstances around that. And most of all, I think, as a mother, for my son, if I had a son and he was being spoken about like that in the press, but actually forgetting about the person, and it's all been about the tragedy and the circumstances around it, and I think we've maybe lost a little bit of sight around who this person was.
And that's his mother. Her name is Mercedes Taffarel,
What a great name.
throughout. Well, I think she's remarried, but it's Mercedes Taffarel is her name, and I think that's probably through the communications we've had with her. I think that you've hit the nail on the head. It's a mother. Emiliano was his son. There was a human being there, and she's had to go through the absolute tragic circumstance of having to bury a child, and none of us ever want that.
No.
And could consider how she would feel. Those of us who've not been through it, and God willing, none of us ever will.
Exactly, yeah. And I do think that all has been lost. So it'll be really good to see the documentary when it's all completed and you can get it out there. When are you due to release the documentary?
It's going to be in 2026. We start filming in September. There's something that is in the public domain. Cardiff City are suing Nantes for around about 120 million euros. They estimate that was the cost of the relegation.
Wow.
So that court case is taking place in Nantes on September the 22nd. So that we're going to start filming around that. Cardiff have been brilliant. They've given us access to much of the story.
Yeah.
They're getting a lot of criticism as a football club for taking this action. But there are things to remember. That they have set up a trust for Emiliano's mother.
Well, that's good.
And looked after her. We're hearing that, and I won't say too much at the moment because some of the evidence needs to be corroborated, and that's one thing that we will do before anything goes into the film, corroborate evidence.
Yeah.
But we have seen documents to suggest that Nantes haven't been anything like as generous as Cardiff City.
Wow.
In fact, I think from what I understand and from what I've seen that Emiliano's mother has been quite insulted by Nantes. But again, we need to corroborate this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be. We start filming, as I say, in France, and then we're filming in the UK. We're going to be filming in Argentina. Most of the protagonists on the UK side of the transfer are obviously based in the UK, so we'll be speaking to them. Not just people from Cardiff City, but friends and family in Argentina, and of course in Nantes, his former next door neighbour, other people who played with him, some of whom were at Nantes with him, now back playing in the UK.
Yeah.
And I think you're going to help us with one of those, Tracy.
Well, you never know. I have worked with a lad who did obviously play with him, and we'd got talking about it actually one day when we were out in the car, and he had mentioned that they had all had lunch with him the day before he flew, and yeah, and I think it's then the impact, I think as we're seeing at Liverpool right now as well, the impact that it also has on the teammates and the people that worked with him on a daily basis, and how do you cope with that after such a tragic loss as well?
No, it isn't. Actually, that's a really good comparison, and I've actually seen in social media, although the cases are very, very, very dissimilar, but the impact it has on supporters, on players, and I think, and from the outside, it seems that Liverpool have conducted themselves really well, particularly with their current squad. They said,
Yeah.
if you don't want to come into training, don't come in. If you want to come into training, firmly put the ball in the court of the players.
Yeah.
And I think that was a really good thing to do.
No, definitely. It's good that they're looking after the players as well, and it's quite clear that he was, Jota was such a well-loved teammate, player, friend, and yeah, Liverpool have acted fantastically, the way they've looked after his family, the way that they've conducted themselves throughout, and it's been nice to see the football world coming together as well to recognise, him as a player and as a person.
No, absolutely, and football does that, doesn't it? I think
does.
there are times in football, we have our rivalries, we have the banter with some fans of other clubs, but when something like this happens, and it must give the loved ones of the player, and of course friends, some real comfort and support, seeing such
Yeah.
an uplift in spirit and togetherness.
No, definitely. I think it helps even like when you make friends within football and that as well, and the unthinkable happens and they pass away and you've all got each other and you all come together as well. Yeah, football's actually, it's so much more about the 90 minutes. It's actually a really powerful sport.
It's actually something I got to see in a different way when I used to do the Masters football
Oh, we
overseas
love
tours.
that.
Particularly we had some great overseas tours, and you have all these the fans expect the Man United players to really hate the Liverpool players, and for that period, whether it's on a six-a-side blue carpet or whether it's on a 90-minute game in Division 1 or the Premier League, they have those battles. But afterwards, they're all friends. They're having a drink together. They're chatting. They're going out to dinner, and some really strong relationships. And it's something perhaps I've been, privileged to see and make some good friends out of football,
Yeah.
and witness, all of these things. But something the fans don't often get the opportunity to see. So, they might remember, I don't know, a picture of Graham Souness or an incident between Graham Souness and Brian Robson, and think they'd really dislike one another. But it's not like that. By the way, they might do. I don't know. But
Can start a rumour there, John.
Absolutely. No.
Did you like the Masters football?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I loved it. Are we going
Well,
to? I know.
Are we seeing more of that?
Yeah, because it kind of came back, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I think they have some events running. We're not involved with it. They have some events, I believe, running in Scotland.
Careful, John,
But
with that
aside
accent.
from that, I know I'm not actually. I'm not
Back
very
of my
good at.
hand, laddie. Back of my hand. There'll be no sliced sausage for you.
And come to my house, John. It's fine.
So, but I understand they've had some events in Scotland. But aside from that, I don't know too much.
Yeah. Oh, I thought we were going to get a wee inside scoop there, John.
Not with Masters football, you're not.
It'll be shite because you're not in it.
I know, that's what it is.
Oh,
See?
What can we say? What
I
can
know.
we say? Why are you looking at me like that?
Because I'm waiting for you to go next.
I don't want to go
I've done all
next.
the speaking.
But you like to speak.
You're just chilling out the day.
I'm just chilling. I'm just enjoying this. Well, I was going to just ask something about. So, your crafty, excuse me, it seems to have an knack on going like behind the scenes, like Cardiff City and Beyond Limits. So, what actually makes you gravitate towards that side and they kind of stories?
well, I think number one, when you go behind the scenes, you need to have trust.
Yeah.
There needs to be trust both ways. By the way,
Yeah.
we
yeah.
need to trust the contributors and vice versa. And at the core of our company, we've got a group of people that have been involved in sport at a professional level. So we've got ex-professional footballers as shareholders, which obviously helps. But we've got a sporting mentality. So we understand when it's even little things like when to ask a question. There's a good time to ask a question and a bad time to ask a question. You see it all the time on when you watch live interviews after games and you get a reporter saying, well, you lost, the manager just lost 5-0 and 30 seconds after the game's over, you hear the question, can you take any positives out of the game? And when you've lost 5-0, you know,
Yeah. You
Yeah.
just,
so it's about rapport,
yeah.
about building trust, and also it's having a reputation for not breaching that.
Yeah.
And I don't think we've ever, you know, I've heard some fantastic stories, and some stories I've, you know, been told, you know, this is off the record, and they stay off the record.
Yeah.
And it's as simple as that. And so it's about, I think the first thing is about building relationships, rapport, and creating trust. I think that's really
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
that doesn't just go for making a film. I think that goes for all sorts of situations in life.
Yeah, because it's not
Yeah.
just football that you do documentaries and stuff on as
No.
well, and I think with the whole family situation at any sport as well is what we going back to, like if something tragic happens, everybody pulls together and it's more like a family. So the documentary of the Hatton Mayweather, the full story, and the Burmese python, is that it?
Burmese python, yeah.
So what makes that story worthy of a documentary in your eyes?
Well, they're two wholly different stories. So you've got two, in terms of Hatton Mayweather, you've got the two biggest names in boxing, probably along with people like Joe Calzaghe at the time.
Oh, yeah.
I like my boxing, I must admit. I do like...
He was quite nice to look at as well.
They're all nice to look at, Tracy. Come on.
John's regretting mentioning his name now.
And so you have one of the great fights. You know, both were unbeaten going into that fight.
Yeah.
You know, as I think the tagline at the time was, "Someone's O is going to go" or something like that.
Right.
So you had that, and again, it was rapport. So we got on very well with Ricky. We followed him in his training camp at Hyde and then in Las Vegas.
He's got a nice house, by the way. Just putting that out there. Yeah, he's got a nice pool and all that.
You should have. He's made loads of money.
Well, he deserves it. He's gone
I
back
know.
in the ring, is he? No, did I not read that he's coming out of retirement?
Apparently, he's coming
Aye.
back for another.
Aye,
He did an exhibition fight a couple of years ago, or 18 months ago, and now he's fighting apparently in Dubai. And I think that's
they're
a
all
way
going
of
to Dubai.
getting around the fact that he can get a boxing license.
Ah, right.
Yeah.
So listen, if he's coming, you know, we've seen a lot of boxers come back after a certain age, but for me, I just hope he stays safe. That's the most
That's the
important
yeah.
thing.
Definitely.
Because, say, our Josh, just because he's from where I live, Josh Taylor, he's retired because his eye. So if he took another fight, he would be losing his eye. And they've got to know, boxing
Yeah.
anyway, haven't they? They've got to know when to stop.
Yeah, definitely.
It's like your body
so
just...
dangerous.
Very dangerous.
But so with the Hatton Mayweather doc, it was about, you know, this is one of the biggest fights that had taken place at the time for a number of years. So the story sort of told itself. With the Burmese python, Nicola Bark, unknown sports person to the wider world, but her story is absolutely empowering. It's got a great ending. Somebody who's overcome adversity to become it had all those elements, and I didn't care that she wasn't known. It was a story we had to tell, and she's such a delightful young lady as well. And her family are lovely. Her mum, her dad, and her younger sister. They're such a beautiful family, and we had to tell the story. So Nicola's story was that her mother, by the way, comes originally from Burma.
Right.
So Nicola is half Burmese. And in Burma, there's this sport called Lethwei, which is absolutely brutal. It's, you know, you can hit your opponent with, I think it's called the art of 9 limbs. So your feet, your
My
knees,
God.
your elbows, your fist, and you can headbutt.
Oh, it's a Saturday night in George Street. But you can get paid for this?
So she became world number 2 in Lethwei in the women's division.
Wow.
And she had this big event in Burma, Myanmar as it's now called. And 5 weeks or so after coming back, she was a passenger in a car crash in Yorkshire, and there were 5 people in the other car, and sadly they all died.
Oh God.
A dreadful, dreadful, dreadful event, and understandably, Nicola had a lot of PTSD.
Oh, of course.
And then we almost go straight into COVID and lockdown, and she's on her own and having to deal with all of these things in her life.
Yeah.
And then she's training. She gets a serious knee injury, so she can't even walk. She's on a brace, in a leg brace, wheelchair.
So she can't
But
even
somehow
release anything.
But she managed to carry on training the top half of her body, and she was out. Do you remember you could go for walks at twice a day? Was it back in lockdown?
Yeah, there's some
And
crazy
she'd
things.
used that time to train in a local park, and she was spotted by a boxer called Linus Udofia. Now Linus is English middleweight champion, so he's reached a great standard. He recently fought for the European Championship, and so Linus is and essentially took her to his gym, and the guys there believed that she had a career as a boxer, as a professional boxer. So we went through the whole process of her, film her as she got her license from the Boxing Board of Control, which isn't an easy thing to do. She had to go through a whole load of tests, but we followed it through to her first fight, which she won, and now she's had 5 fights. She's unbeaten in all of them. She's won the lot. But again, thankfully it's benign, but she lost her license temporarily. She's about to make a comeback. This bit isn't in the film, by the way. This is a postscript of the story. But they found a brain tumor, which was benign. So again, but she's out there. She's doing motivational speech. She's such
An
a
inspiration.
fantastic person that she gets knocked down, up she gets knocked down, up she gets. She's brilliant. And so we had to tell that story.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, such a role model as well for like young women.
Absolutely right.
Yeah. No, definitely. But yeah, wee bit of kind of resilience and adversity.
Well, it's true though, isn't it? No matter what life chucks at you, just fucking get on with it.
I know.
Do you know, and there's always somebody worse. Do you know that? There's always somebody worse off than you, isn't there? But to go through that and then to find that in your wee head, that's naughty.
I know.
But she's just went, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
Ken, and that's such a, as you say, a role model and inspiration to young girls or boys and men, whoever. Just a great inspiration to everybody that just, you can do it.
Yeah.
We keep saying that to ourselves, and we never do it. Half the time it's like, I'll be arsed.
I mean, just back to kind of the Hatton and Mayweather fight, obviously it was in Vegas, which is where, it's all glitz and glam and chaos. A bit like Dubai when they're putting on the fights. Was it a bit like that when you were filming? Was it quite chaotic?
Yeah, it was. Well, absolutely. And a marked difference to where Ricky's gym was in Hyde. But one thing that will stay with me, actually way more than the fight, was the weigh-in.
Oh, really?
They're actually quite scary.
The weigh-in was insane.
It was intense and all, wasn't it?
Oh, the arena was packed out. There was more people for a weigh-in than there was for some Premier League football matches.
Wow.
Smaller, and they were just singing and chanting all the way through. It was hosted by Michael. It's showtime.
All right.
Let's get ready to.
Let's get ready.
There was all that, but then they had all these other boxers come on. So you had Joe Kawasaki was there, Lennox Lewis, Hopkins, who was about to, just before the announcement of his fight with Kawasaki. It was a Golden Boy promotion. So who's the Golden Boy? His name's gone out of my head. I'm getting old.
You mean Eddie? Eddie Hearn.
No, the Golden Boy, ex-boxer, American. Who's the Golden Boy? Forgotten. It will come back to me.
I'm too young.
I've got menopause, John. I've got brain fog.
I'm too young for that.
I'm not going to remember.
I'll Google it.
But anybody who was anybody was there. I remember going to check in, get my press pass, and I went into the press lounge, and I looked round and I was looking up, and it was Lennox Lewis standing next to me. And I got, I really cricked my neck looking up to see who it was. Never have I felt so insignificant as a human being.
Wow.
The man was an absolute man mountain. And
Wow.
anybody who got into a ring with him and came out in one piece,
Lucky.
fair play to them, because that guy was mad. But you know what? Such a lovely man.
Oh, you normally find that, don't you? They're
Yeah.
just big, gentle giants.
Yeah. And I got to meet people like Sugar Ray Leonard.
Wow.
Some real legends there. David Beckham was there. Sylvester Stallone. I think Tom Cruise was there. They were
Right,
all there.
stop it.
Oh,
It was-
totally name dropping, Johnny.
Oh no!
There you
But
go.
so-
There's a couple of other names.
And then of course there was the after party at the Hard Rock Hotel. Was it the
Oh,
Hard Rock
wow.
Hotel or was the Planet Hollywood? One of them, can't remember. And that was a great night. But for me, the thing that stands out more in the memory of anything was that weigh-in. I've never seen anything like it. And I remember trying to do an interview with Jim Watt. And Jim Watt, worked for ITV, Scottish boxer, absolute legend, lovely guy.
Yeah.
But he called it, and we couldn't hear a thing. But we got through the interview, and he called it. He said to me, he thinks Floyd Mayweather would win, but if the referee Joe Cortez allowed Ricky to fight his fight and allowed Ricky to punch on the inside, that was Ricky's only chance of victory. And he called it because Joe Cortez would not allow Ricky to fight on the inside.
Wow.
Broke up every time.
Oh.
There you go.
The insight there at
I
how
know.
the actual. I knew it was a fix, obviously. Everything's a bloody fix. So, who was your money on then?
I had to be on Ricky because
Good
we spent
lad.
all that time with him. And that was
Even though
probably
he's a
more the
City
heart-
fan.
Listen, he was fighting for the UK. He was fighting for England. We let him. Actually,
Did you hear what he just said there?
when we came when he came out of the ring and he came out for the press conference, I remember we pulled him aside and said, sorry Ricky, it's not been a great day for you. City have lost at Spurs today. But the whole
Just to
crowd
cheer you
was
up.
singing, there's only one Ricky Hatton. He said, thank you for making my day.
Love it.
So yeah, no, fantastic memories of that fight. But Vegas, as you say, it was nuts. But it's not the same there anymore. The big fights are now in Saudi Arabia. Like a lot of large cities in the USA, Las Vegas now has its homeless problems and its drugs problems.
Yeah.
Some of the larger hotels have shut down.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sad. So yeah, but I'll never forget those few days back in December 2007.
Wow. Scary how
Long
long ago that
time.
was, yeah.
Yeah, nearly 20 years ago.
Christ, that's
Can't
when I
believe
know
it.
I'm getting old.
I was only 12.
She's a joker, I tell you.
12 stayed.
I mean, obviously thinking back to like kind of football shows, obviously you had drugs, mugs and thugs.
Oh, God.
With George Best, Rodney
Now
Bash.
you're going back literally
know it.
30 years ago. 30 years ago. My God.
And obviously things were a lot different back then. You could say a lot more. Do you feel that, like, obviously when you watch kind of Sky Sports News and things like that just now and any kind of football shows, do you feel they've kind of lost a little bit of their soul?
Oh, God, yeah.
yeah.
Look, change is always going to, be part of society, isn't it?
Yeah.
Society will always try to look to improve, and that's absolutely right. But we've got to the point now where we've lost the right to speak our minds.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about speaking offensively.
Yeah.
or,
No. Yeah.
but just speak our minds. And I think people are are scared to say a lot of things that they feel, which I think is tragic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think society will end up losing more because of that than it will gain.
Oh, definitely.
It's funny you should say that because last year we did we did a charity show to raise money for Head for Change Foundation to help, hopefully for the charity that looks after players who suffer dementia and other brain injuries.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of that in the news at the moment. And we decided we had Tony Woodcock and Martin O'Neill
Good
Oh,
characters.
good guy.
as the live as replace. You can't not to replace George Best and Rodney Marsh, but to step into it,
Yeah.
to step in for the
Yeah.
Rodney. George no longer with us. But what we did during lockdown, I actually found the master for Drugs, Mugs, and Thugs
Wow.
on tape, and I had it transferred and salvaged as much of it as I could. So we played some live excerpts on the stage out to the live audience. And do you know what? The response to some of those risque jokes was fantastic.
Oh, I bet.
Not one person complained, certainly not to us. The place was in hysterics with some
Yeah.
of George's stories and Rodney's stories. And do you know what? Sometimes I think comedy generally, you think back to some of the comedies of the 70s and 80s, and sometimes they're parodying
Mm-hmm.
some of the things we dislike about society
Yeah.
and open it up therefore as a talking point,
Yeah.
as opposed to something that we shouldn't talk about
Yeah.
or scared
Exactly.
to talk about. And I think, we all should, we're all perhaps, I don't know who made us all sensitive or the younger generation sensitive,
Snowflakes, we
but
call them now, John, apparently.
are we allowed to call them snowflakes?
Or the not, is it not the woke?
Call them arseholes if you want. I don't give a fuck.
Listen,
Probably a
But
better
but
word.
see, but that's that from an actor, stroke comedy actress point of view on that. That stops a lot of people like us doing what we do best because the woke, the snowflakes, whoever it is, don't find it offensive. You can't fart these days and somebody
but
finds
it's,
it
but
offensive.
it's more than that, though, isn't it? It's about being
It
cancelled.
is.
Yeah.
It's about being cancelled because you're not just cancelling somebody from appearing on a TV show
No,
or on a platform, whatever.
Yeah.
You're taking away their livelihood,
Exactly.
and that is where it's gone way past
Yeah.
what's right and what's fair. No, some people possibly, well, we know, going back in time, some people have absolutely deserved that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But for making jokes and about raising the profile of something,
Yeah.
we're not allowed to debate anymore.
No.
I remember back in the day we used to sit in a pub or be at a dinner party, and you'd have people all of varying opinions, and you'd all talk about it. Sometimes you'd get a bit heated, as you do.
Oh,
Been
But at
there.
the end of the day,
But-
you walk away, hug,
That's it.
kiss, shake hands, what have you.
that's
Exactly.
it. Because that's what
It's a bit
everybody's
like
got a
90
different
minutes
opinion.
on a football field.
Well,
Oh, I know.
exactly. Aye.
Yeah, you just need to look at Twitter after a game at the weekend.
Oh,
I don't do it anymore. I don't do it anymore.
no. No.
And that's definitely not a society on Twitter that worry about what they say. They just don't care.
No, I would have loved to have seen how George would have coped with social media.
I think he would.
Had he been alive.
Aye.
Actually,
I think
Liam
he would have been
Gallagher.
good. I think he would have just
I
answered
don't
back.
think he would have done it.
Do you not?
No.
He didn't. He wasn't really into mobile phones. People made calls. He had one, but people made calls for him.
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't really be bothered with all
No.
of that sort of thing. But it would have been interesting to see how the public would have responded to George and some of the things that he did.
Yeah.
And so it'd be interesting to see what the because I just think in society today we're far less tolerant. We don't understand people. You still see today, oh, he should never have been given another liver, for example. And it's just tragically wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, great memories of George. I actually remember not long before recording the original video, we went out. Actually, it was a bit before that. It was about 6 because it was snowing, and the snow plays a key part in this story. And I'd driven, and which was a stupid thing to do anyway, to go anywhere when you know you're going to meet George and take the car. So anyway, I got absolutely hammered, absolutely, and a blizzard had come down. and I couldn't find my car, and I needed to get to the car, not to drive because I wasn't absolutely going to drive,
Mhm.
but I needed a coat because I had no coat, and there was a coat in the boot, and I was freezing, absolutely freezing, and I couldn't find my car.
We've
I
all
couldn't
been there,
find.
John.
It was a mixture of the drink and the boot. Yeah, but in the end, I phoned uh, Hammersmith. I think it was Hammersmith Council or Kensington and Chelsea. Gave them my registration number and said, please don't clamp it. I've lost it. I can't remember where I've left it. And I said, well, if we find it, we're going to clamp it. So then I said, look, I'm not, this is the absolute truth. And they believed me. I've been out with George Best and I can't find my car. And they laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed. They found my car. I give them my number. They phoned me and said, you've got 2 hours to go and get it before we clamp it.
Wow.
That's the power of George
I was
Best.
going to say,
God,
another
Jay.
He
name
was
drop in
car
there.
being clamped.
Oh, no. Well, obviously, you were quite good friends with George Best. You got any more kind of funny stories?
Oh God, where to start? Where to start? I remember one night we had we often had a pre-Christmas get together, and we'd go for something. There was the Palm Casino, Palm Beach, Palm West Casino in Mayfair, then Tramp, and then maybe Morton's afterwards. And one year, Rodney had invited Malcolm Allison along. You know, we'd get together with Harold Graham in Tramp from Hot Chocolate. He was a great guy.
Brilliant.
God rest him. Um, but Malcolm Allison turned up this one night and ordering bottles of Krug as if they did
Jeez.
champagne, as if they'd gone out of fashion. Then come the time to pay the bill, he disappeared.
Sounds like one of John's pals, but I won't name names.
So anyway, George comes to me and said, John, I've had a bad night in the casino. Can you look after it and I'll sort you out? Of course, George. So I paid the bill. Next day, a cab's turned up at my house, and quite a lot of money in it. And George hadn't only put his share in; he covered the whole lot with a thank you for trusting me. I said, of course, I'm going to trust you. You know.
What a nice man.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, no, people don't know. People see George. You know, George spent a lot of time trying his best, not to conquer his addiction. My dad was an alcoholic as well, and it's not easy. People don't see how difficult it is. George even went as far as having stomach pellets
Wow.
sewed into his stomach, and the problem with that is that is that you're not supposed to be able. Not the problem, but the thing about it is it's supposed to prevent you from drinking because it's supposed to create some sort of reaction. But George, being the competitive person that he was, he tested it to see how far he could go. And it was a competition. It was like doing, instead of doing keepy uppies with a ball, it was like, how many drinks can I have?
Oh, jeez.
It's terrible. But he was such a lovely guy. He was kind. He was so generous, not just with his time, and he'd care. So if he knew that something was going on in your life, or he'd phone up and say,
Take the time to
is
actually
everything
chat.
all right? He'd give you the time. He was such a kind, lovely, caring man. Look, I can also see the other side of the story. Those that lived with him must have found it very, very difficult. I
Yeah.
lived with a dad, as I said, with an alcoholic. But yeah, I just got nothing but good memories of him. And I'll tell you one thing. He never let me down. And we booked him for a number of shows. I worked with him as well on a number of. He always turned up. I think the only time the distributors of drugs, mugs, and thugs were BMG. Was BMG Group, and they'd arranged for a press conference in the Midland Hotel in Manchester. And I think George had got fed up with lots of, he'd done quite a lot of press on this particular tour. and so apparently he escaped from the bathroom window of the public toilet at the Midlands Hotel,
I've had enough. Fuck this.
and did a runner. But I have to say I can't blame him because some of the questions he was getting asked was ridiculous. But yeah, I think that's the only. But for a TV show, he was always there, and you know
Yeah.
what? He was so astute as a pundit. He was generous with his time. He was generous with the crew. You have a production crew wow, George Best, and he would stand there and spend time with everybody. He was a great man. And actually, I remember the last time I worked with him wasn't that long before he went into hospital for the last time. And it was about a year before he went in. It was the last time I worked with him. And it was the Charity Shield. So he passed away in 2005. So it was the Charity Shield 2004 between United and Arsenal. And after the show, we went to the studio was near a place called Gerrard's Cross in Buckinghamshire. We had a driver for him, and he said, "Are we going to go somewhere for a drink?" And we all went for a drink. And of course, my son at the time, how old was Robert? He would have been about 7 or 8. And while the game was on and we were off air in the studio, he was sat with my son, talking through the game with him, giving him tips. Absolutely brilliant with Robert. And then after we went back to this bar in Gerrard's Cross. And he said, "Come on, Robert, come to the car with me. I want to say goodbye to you." So I followed them out, and he gave Robert something. And when Robert came back, he said, "Oh, Dad, George said, here's 20 quid, buy your dad a drink and thank him for everything."
Oh.
And I wondered that, it was only after he passed away. I remember what he said, and he said, "The thank you for everything."
Yeah.
I just wondered. Well, maybe I'm reading too much into that, but when you're sad, and things affect you, you'll never you grab onto those
Yeah,
little
of course
things,
you do.
don't you?
Yeah, and I think probably for him, John, it would have been a case of he wouldn't have had many people he probably could have trusted.
Yeah.
Because there's too many people that
it's nice
see
to
the
think that.
footballer status, the money, the fame that's all comes with that as well, and and it is hard for players, their families in that situation to find people that they can trust and invite in.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and he would share, with George. You couldn't ask him or tell him to do anything. You had to, you couldn't say, "George, don't you think you've had enough to drink now?" You'd say, "George, I'm hungry. I fancy some chips. Do you want some as well?"
Mm.
Yeah.
And that would perhaps get, or, "George, I'm heading off now. Do you want to? I'm going to get a cab. Do you want to jump in with me? Or are you going to stay?" You had to be a little bit
Tactical.
practical and clever.
Yeah.
You couldn't tell him what to do. But I remember another time as well. We were having dinner one night. My family and George's. He was with his ex-partner at the time, Mary Shatilla, who was a lovely lady as well. And he suddenly produced this letter, and this letter just simply said, "George Best, London, England." And it was from a Romanian dissident who had been in prison throughout the Ceausescu years.
Wow.
And as I was reading it, taking it in slow, I looked up at George, and you could see he was emotional himself, even though he'd probably read it a number of times. This letter essentially said that he and John Lennon, John had obviously died a few years earlier, but he and John Lennon had given hope to so many political prisoners in Romania because they were both the essence of the word freedom. That's what the letter said. But the fact that this letter simply said "George Best, London, England" on the envelope,
And got to him.
and it got delivered to him.
Wow.
Brilliant.
I know.
Absolutely brilliant.
I don't think Royal Mail's is good this at the moment. I don't think it would get anywhere. But yeah, I mean, obviously, again, being player care, I always think about people like George Best and, how would they cope, if he'd maybe had people surrounding him within the football club. Do you think things might have been a bit different for him?
Do you know what? It's hard to say. I think George was always going to be George, but it might have been different. I can give you a great story actually that related to that is there's this famous story that George actually turned up at the airport and jumped on the plane. It's sort of nearly true, but he hadn't realised that he needed to take a passport because in the past the club had already, when they went abroad, they always give them the passports at the airport.
Yeah.
So George didn't realize, so he had to go from London to Manchester to get his passport back from the club before this spontaneous "I'm flying away" story.
Oh dear.
So I'm sorry to shatter a few illusions with that one, but yeah,
Oh,
no, you're right. And listen, it's hard to say. I think certainly there would have been more pathways to the right sort of help, whether it was psychologically, whether
yeah.
addiction counselors. I don't know. We've got to remember that his addiction didn't really hit him uh, until later on in his career,
Mm.
and perhaps after his career was already over. So it's important to bear that in mind.
Do you think that maybe
Uh,
had something to do with it? Maybe that kind of losing a little bit of his identity. Who am I after football?
Possibly, although he did carry on playing. Though he played, he came up to Hibs
Came up
during
to
that
Yeah.
period, for
Oh no,
example.
we loved having him. Not that I
And
remember. I think I was too young for that, obviously.
so yeah, listen, very possibly. Again, who knows? But excuse me, addiction is addiction. I know his mum didn't drink at all until she was very late in life, and until
Right.
much later in life. And she was by no means a drinker, and I think she found herself trapped with the press constantly
Yeah.
outside her front door, and she turned to drink. So I know his mother's death um, affected him greatly. But yeah, listen, it would be lovely to think, not lovely, it's the wrong word, that player care could have had uh, a difference. Back then, men couldn't even, you know, express that they
Yeah.
felt
No.
sad,
Yeah.
back
Making you
then.
cry, yeah.
I know.
You couldn't cry any of that sort
No.
of stuff. You had to go and do it in private. And thank God that the world has moved on now.
Mm.
There are clearly parallels with Paul Gascoigne. Now, Gaz
Mhm.
is only now a year younger than when George passed
Oh
away. And of
wow.
course,
Because, cause,
George didn't unfortunately make 60. He passed away at 59. So Gaz was 58 now.
Mhm.
He's been in the media lately.
yeah, he's back
And
in
I'm
hospital,
hoping
isn't
that,
he?
yeah, I think he's out. Apparently, it was
Oh,
a
well,
throat
that's
infection.
all right.
But who knows? But the bottom line is, I hope that the people around Paul are getting him the help and counsel that he
Yeah,
Yeah.
needs.
yeah.
And one would think that all these years on, that's possibly the case. I know that the team around him are very protective, which is good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got to say a word here too about Phil Hughes, who was George's manager and agent. Phil did a remarkable job looking after George, he made him relevant again. George had gone through a few years drifting and turning it, doing gigs for 100 quid, 150 quid. Phil and with Alex made him relevant again and,
Mm.
and got him back out there. And it must have been terribly hard
Yeah.
for Phil. And I just think he did a remarkable job with George. And I got to see the way that George totally trusted Phil. And I know that Phil tried to get help for him. And, potentially the move away to Northern Ireland after he had the liver transplant could have been a good thing. But I
Mhm.
think it was one extreme to the other, being in the middle of it all,
Yeah.
as opposed to and then suddenly being away from absolutely everything. But I know Phil worked with him really hard, and again was very protective of George. So it's hard to say, but generally speaking, in general terms, men can talk about their feelings more,
Mhm.
which is vital. And I think generally care is a lot stronger than it was back 50
Back
years ago
then.
when
Yeah.
George was still playing.
No, definitely. And I think as well the problem with people who have addictions is that people don't look at the reason why. they became addicted to whatever it is that they're addicted to, and they're kind of seen upon as a kind of dredge to society, and people don't often look beyond the addiction at all, and that's all they see. I mean, obviously we had that with my sister, and that was obviously through domestic abuse, and that was her comforter. But I don't feel probably she got the help with the doctors, because what they seen was an alcoholic rather than the reason why she was an alcoholic, and try and help her.
They just punt you with antidepressants and all that as well. Like,
Yeah.
like, take that pill, you'll be all right. But as you say, they didn't go right into why. And it's easy for people on the outside looking in saying, oh, just stop drinking. Or just stop taking whatever. And, oh, you can't.
I mean, even my eldest with an eating disorder, I had friends that said to me, is she doing it for attention? And it's just...
I think people don't realise, they see it as it was your decision to take that first drink or to take that first drug or what have you. And that may be the case, but the majority of us can cope with it. You don't know what's inside you and what will trigger.
Yeah.
That's right.
And it is an illness.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a lifestyle choice. It is an illness. And people need to realise that.
Mm-hmm.
No, completely. I know. Well, that was great insight to the great George Best as well.
Great man.
Yeah, I know.
Still miss him.
Yeah.
So out of all the the strong personalities that you've worked with, that you're friends with, and that, who's the pinnacle?
In terms of the strongest, that's a difficult question.
Maybe who's been the biggest character? Obviously, George would have been a character with your
George up
stories and
there.
stuff.
Yeah, Pele.
Oh. Now we're getting it. It's another wee name
that
drop.
one in there, John.
Where'd you pull that from?
Dinner with him in the south of France after a trade fair. It was difficult because English wasn't great and my Portuguese was non-existent. Apart from obrigado,
Hola, un drink, por favor.
But it's just the aura, with George, the aura.
Yeah.
You listen, you speak, but there's been lots of them. I remember once being invited as a guest to an event called Soccer X in Dubai.
Mm-hmm.
And it was actually the first time I ever missed my young son's birthday. I had to be there, though.
Oh.
But at lunch, I was put on the same table as Bobby Robson and Brian Robson.
Wow.
And so you didn't talk, you just listened, the conversation. Then in the evening, you didn't think it could be topped off, but in the evening, it was dinner on tables on the beach. I was sat next to Eric Cantona.
Oh,
I was put next to Eric.
Right, I'll wipe that seat.
and we got talking as we did, and I mentioned it was my son's birthday, and it's the first one I'd missed. He said, "Give me your phone, or phone home, and then give me the phone." So he rings up, and they weren't bloody in, so he's left. But he's left a message on the answer phone. Hello, Robert. This is Eric Cantona.
Oh my God, I would have died.
We've still got the tapes. We've got nothing to bloody play it on anymore. But we've still got the tape.
Oh my God, that's just my dream to meet him.
You're jelly.
I know. So if you can sort it, John. Honestly, I love Eric.
We'll do you 2 sliced sausage rolls.
I met him again. We were involved with the beach football at Hyde Park. I actually played in one of the celebrity events at Hyde Park. We produced it for Sky. We produced the whole tournament for Sky, and he was there. And just remember being in a nightclub and sitting talking to him, and he was smoking away on his little cigarello things, and just being the very French art. It just looked French.
That's all right with me, John. That's all right.
No. I mean, in a good way. He was so
cool.
So cool. Yeah. Absolutely.
He just oozes coolness, doesn't he?
And he didn't care. You know,
Yeah.
and if he didn't like something, he'd just give you that look. Not me, thank God, but other people. Just, I loved him. Well, I still do. Absolutely brilliant, and changed United altogether. If you go back to signings,
Yeah.
him, Schmeichel, and Dennis Irwin as well. Those three signings for me. But that's another story. No, Eric was or is just absolutely unique. Have to say that the guys I work with now as well, brilliant. Tony Woodcock, Martin O'Neill, who are all part of Crafty
I
Entertainment.
love Martin O'Neill. What a
Pe-
character.
Peter Reid. These guys are all
Peter
great
Reid.
guys. They're all. I don't know what it is. I'd love to see if today's crop of generation will mix with fans the way
Nah, they
that.
will now.
But when I see Reedy, when I see Tony, I see Martin, they're stopped in the street. It's not just sign an autograph.
The
The
blather.
time of
Aye.
day they give, they talk, they ask questions.
Yeah.
And they engage. And it makes that supporter feel special.
Yeah.
And do you know what? They're all great guys. They're lovely people. They've got their feet on the ground. I think it's probably because at the age of 16, 17, 18, they weren't earning 50 grand a week.
No,
They were
exactly.
earning
A
five
fiver.
quid a week,
Yeah.
and so does money corrupt or not corrupt, but does it change you? Looking at the evidence,
Mm-hmm.
you got to say it does, don't you?
No,
Definitely.
definitely. I think Jack Grealish probably portrays that quite well. With like speaking to supporters and that, like you've watched, like we've seen clips and videos with him with like disabled
Yeah.
children. That he's always got time for, especially younger fans. Even when they were going to collect their medals, and
Yeah,
he's always got time for the kids and that.
I couldn't agree more. And there are others, you've seen Wayne Rooney,
Yeah.
as well. And I think sometimes it's more about the upbringing as well. Have they had their feet on the ground?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have they been brought up? But it's a shame. You look at events like Masters football, in its prime 15, 20 years ago, whenever. Can you imagine, I don't know, Marcus Rashford or Phil Foden wanting to play that? Maybe, but are they
If they were
going to
getting
get out
paid.
of bed from less than, how much is it? You're going to need deep pockets, I would
Mhm,
imagine. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, but the game has
One for the
changed.
future, John. See if they'll
There
play.
you go.
We'll see. We'll see.
I know. What probably takes us into kind of, because we have taken up loads of your
I
time, because we
know.
could talk to you all day, to be fair. But
And likewise, by the way, I'm enjoying it.
well, that's
Aww.
good. See, we're not that bad.
Tell you I wasn't that
I did
bad.
warn her to be.
I've been on my
gentle
best
with you.
behaviour today.
You
Have
have
you
been on-
noticed?
you have.
Have you guys? Have you noticed that? Yes, thank you very
don't
much.
need to be on your best. I always say, be yourself.
John, you're a fucking legend.
There she goes.
There she is.
She's unleashed.
She's back.
So obviously
As
talking
to say, be careful what you wish for.
well, that's true,
Are
John.
you into my brain now? Talking about all these footballers and boxers. Oh,
Obviously takes us into you being a Manchester United supporter.
Yep.
You've been
Man and boy.
punted from your seat, shall we say?
you've been punted
punted
out.
for hospitality. When?
Yeah, so
How did that make you feel? First of all,
Was it? Did they just drop it in a letter to you, or when it was?
email.
That's not.
it's like a breakup, isn't it?
Look, I
That's
think
sad.
football is in real crisis. Not I'm talking about the game itself now, but it's got a decision to make.
Yeah.
Does it want to keep its hardcore supporters? Does it want to be centre of the local community
Mm.
and still attract fans from overseas?
Yeah.
Or does it just want to sell its soul? I think a lot of it's the soul has already been sold. We've
Oh,
seen it with
completely.
the FIFA Club World Cup. And it's not anger, it's sadness more than anything. When I think of walking down the Warwick Road as it was before it was known as Sir Matt Busby Way, I think of all the people that I walk down that road. And I can't help it. Every time I walk down, particularly night games when the floodlights are on, I still get the little hairs on the back of my neck.
Mhm.
I'm thinking about the first time my dad took me,
The
or the
memories.
mates that I used to walk down there with when I was a teenager who are
Yeah.
no longer with us. And yeah, I can actually revisit some of those conversations, and and also it's quite important, the seating, that you can keep your seat, and because you get to know the people around you. Because
Exactly.
in the old days, when you used to pile through a turnstile together, and
Course,
you'd
yeah.
all go with your mates and you stand together,
Yeah.
Or the little wooden benches.
or on little wooden benches. Yeah, not so much at United. Well, they did have little wooden benches, I think, at the back of the Stretford end. Not that I ever used them. So when that stopped and became all ticket and all seater, that all changed.
Mm-hmm.
But you'd built a community
Yeah.
in that area. So people have been sitting there now for 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
And not just in that particular stand, in any parts of the ground. And that's gone. They're destroying it. And it's not just United doing it, but United are in the news at the moment. I don't want a new Old Trafford. I'm pretty adamant about that.
Yeah, I'm
I
the
think
same
they
as you.
could spend. I think they can spend the money and redevelop it
Mm-hmm.
bit by bit. I just think. I know it's not the same pitch. The turf has been laid multiple times, but George played in that area. Bobby Charlton,
Yeah.
Dennis Law, the Busby Babes.
Just lose that history, don't you?
I know. I know sentiment sometimes can be not misplaced, but can sometimes block progress.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that progress can still happen with the existing Old Trafford. I really do. But I
Exactly.
think the stadium's been allowed, almost been allowed to rot.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not as bad as the press make out, by the way. Yes, there's a leak, but
Who
people
hasn't got a leak?
missed the leak at the Emirates Stadium at Arsenal
Yeah.
when it rained heavily. And that stadium's, was that 20 years old?
I'm sure they had that at Gorgie at Hearts at Tynecastle when they were doing all their work. Sorry, just had to chuck that in.
Is Tynecastle
So
finished?
I support my badge, the badge. I support the players. I support the history. But do I support Jim Ratcliffe? Suitable name, Ratcliffe.
Yeah.
You rat.
The Glazers. No. Actually, sometimes is it? I didn't like the debt that the Glazers left on the club, the way they purchased the club. I think that form of takeover is now illegal.
Mm-hmm.
I hope to God that the new football regulator is not a puppet for
Yeah.
the Premier League. I hope they have real power. I really hope that they find a way to give fans a real voice. I know, Tracy, in the past you've been a fans director
Yeah.
at Hibs, and I don't know what sort of power you had on behalf of the fans. Not power that you had, but how much the fans' voice was listened to. But I really hope the regulator can find a way to give the fans a proper say in the running of their clubs,
Yeah.
and
It's
the
important.
clubs, because at the moment it just feels the clubs that are paying lip service. They bring you to these forums, ask you the questions, you tell them what you don't want, but they go away and do it anyway.
Yeah.
Sod
No,
that.
completely. I mean, I found it helpful for me as a supporter to see how other things worked within the club as well. I think you learn to appreciate them more. I think as well, with some things that were suitable, which were right for the club, weren't necessarily always right with what fans wanted as well, because sometimes they can be two different things, and what fans want might not be right for the club as well. And it's trying to get that right balance. I do remember we were talking about ticketing. I think I'm allowed to say this. It's been a while, and we had a really good board at the time. We obviously had a female CEO as well, who probably had bigger balls than a lot of men I know. And she was great. And I remember we were going through the ticketing, and we were upping some prices and things. And I remember trying to argue my case strongly that bringing a family to the football is expensive enough. A lot of people can't afford it. And it's not just then you're buying your season ticket, then it's the food on a match day, it's going into the shop, and it's getting there and back as well. And it's an expensive day out. It's expensive all season. And I think I did manage to get £20 chopped off the price that they were going to. It's not a lot, but they listened, and it's what they could do. But they did actually listen, and a lot of supporters sometimes had lots of questions that they wanted to put to the board. And sometimes it would maybe take quite a bit of time for that to come back to the supporters. But it was just like, well, you might not want to answer those questions, but they're questions that they're asking, and you have to answer them in some shape or form. And they did eventually obviously come out and answer them. Sometimes because, as you know, within football, there's sometimes groups of supporters that maybe have forums or whatever and maybe shout the loudest as well. And sometimes they don't like to answer those questions, but sometimes they're actually really important questions within those that they have to come back and answer. So it was always making sure you kind of pushed for that. So you were doing your part as a fans director as well, understanding what the club needed, but at the same time making sure that supporters were heard.
Listened to. Yeah. So, the latest news now is that if they do go ahead and raise the money needed to build the new stadium, that one of the suggestions that was floated at a recent fans forum was that they wanted to charge £4,000 just to simply guarantee your seat for 30 years.
What?
Yeah. And I know there's a couple of clubs, NFL clubs, that do this in the United States. And when I heard that, my heart just sank. It really did. There are questions around that.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, I'm 60 or whatever now, so I'm not going to spend £4,000 if I need to, because why am I going to give 40 grand for a 30-year guarantee when I won't see the end of the 30 years?
Yeah.
Don't write yourself off yet, though, John.
Can't get rid of that easily.
No. Nah.
Might get a better seat as well. We could wheel you in.
Yeah. But is it going to be every seat? Is it going to be certain seats? But it's just like every single twist and turn. A bit like the Labour government, really. How can we get more people out? How can we get more money out of everyone?
Yeah.
They want to, they want to screw the pensioners. They want, everybody. Sorry, I've never gone into a football season in the way that I'm going into this one with so little enthusiasm.
Yeah.
Do you think, though, that boils down to these people who buy football clubs don't understand the whole history, the family side of it? Yeah, we get that they're businessmen and they've got billions in the bank or whatever. Of course, everything.
Yeah, but Jim Ratcliffe came in on. That's what he built. That's what his bid was, to win the United fans over.
Right.
I'm from Manchester. I bloody well used to walk down. I was on the Stretford end.
But he's got money now. He's got money now. He's
not
not an ordinary.
He's got a clue.
He's not a normal
got
punter.
a clue.
No.
Yeah. We're just pricing ordinary fans
out.
I mean, take
it's not even a question of pricing ordinary fans out. It's a question of
pricing everybody out.
No.
Everybody out, apart from the mega rich.
Yeah.
I was there was one game I was at last season that not a lot of people. Put it like this: a lot of people passed on their season tickets for lots of reasons. I was still there, and next to me, I think he was from China. And he spent the whole game watching the game through his phone.
Oh.
And he had a Bruno Fernandes shirt with the wrong number on. And it was a knockoff shirt.
Did he get off of Timu?
Clearly knockoff. But I got to the point where I told him, if he put that phone in front of my face one more time,
shove up your
that phone was going on the pitch.
Yeah.
And he was going to be not far behind it.
You should be living in the moment at a game.
Exactly.
Do you know, and to be in such a massive stadium like Old Trafford, do you think you'd be like that? Because I know that when we go and see Southampton, we didn't go down doing too much because they're shite anyway. But if they're coming up to like Newcastle, Sunderland, or whatever, then we'll go there. So even when you go, like the first time I went to the Stadium of Light, I was like, fucking hell, Dad, the size of this place. You didn't want to just stand there with your phone and all that, do you? You get into it, and if you're a so-called true fan, then that's the last thing that should be coming out your pocket. It's your bloody phone.
That's what you're going
And
for.
you know what?
Unless you're checking the scores at the end of the season, whether there what match is going on. But Christ.
And do you know what? There are games sometimes when crowd and team are at one. You know, I think of the game quarterfinals of the Europa League. You know, that incredible comeback. Bruno, Kobe Mainu. Yeah, I've forgotten who the game was against. I'll tell you what, I'm really suffering memory.
You got menopause like us.
We're rubbing off on you,
Do you want me
Johnny.
to send you some patches, dude?
No, but the crowd and team are in unison. You
Yeah,
get
it
rid
was
of
extra
the
special.
fans that know the songs.
Yeah.
Create the atmosphere. You're in danger of losing that.
Yeah.
You're
That's
in
a
danger
sad
of
thing.
losing it.
I remember being at a Manchester United, well, it was Middlesbrough Man United, so it was at Middlesbrough's ground. Is it Riverside?
Yeah.
Yeah, see?
Down by the riverside.
And my uncle had got us the tickets through some contacts. And I was like, please tell me I'm in the Manchester United end, because otherwise I'll probably get chucked out. So I was pregnant at that time with our second, Molly. And obviously you're at a away game, so you're standing the whole game. My ankles were huge by the time I got home. But we lost 4-1 that day. But I remember phoning home at half-time and my stepdad was like, what's the score? I was like, it's 3-0. Oh, that's a good result. I went, no, that's to Middlesbrough. And he's like, what the hell's going on? He says, you're a jinx.
and that's the game that Keno went off on one.
Yeah, because when
MTV.
Van Nistelrooy scored the only goal, like the crowd erupted. I had the best away day because the crowd just sung. They totally got behind the team. It was just, honestly, although we lost, I had such a great day. It was actually a really great experience, and that's how it should be. But
I love the away games. The thing is, you're crammed into a smaller area,
creates a
and
bit
so
of
you're
atmosphere.
more likely to bump into mates that you don't normally see at home games.
Yeah.
So I love away games.
I know. I mean, do you feel a little bit disconnected with Manchester United now as a club? Maybe not so much the team, but the club?
As a club, yeah. You know, I remember back in the day, you know, as a kid, and even right through to Alex Ferguson, I remember the first time I wrote to Manchester United.
I'm so glad you said that and not Jim will fix it.
Tracy.
Well, you talk about Jim Holton had just broken his leg. And it was a bad leg injury. So I wrote to the club and asked them to pass on the message. I was a kid. I was 11, 12.
Oh.
Asked them to pass on my best wishes to Jim for a recovery. Tommy Doherty replied on behalf of Jim Holton. Said,
Wow.
Thank you for that. We've passed on. They wouldn't do that now.
No. I mean, I actually wrote to Sir Alex. I was trying to buy tickets, to be fair. But I actually got a letter back, just explaining, the upcoming games. You know, they were pretty much sold out, and it was hard. But if you try this number or you go through this way, and I thought,
They didn't have to do that.
exactly, they could have just ignored my letter. I was just blagging.
How old were you? 35.
No, I think it was about 19. 19. Well, you've got to, if you don't ask.
Well, not
You
19.
know what I mean? So, but yeah, no, I mean, I felt that quite a lot with Hibs, that kind of disconnection with the club. Not with the team, not with the manager. Love the team, love the manager, fully behind them, but I have felt that disconnect with the club. I think as well, I don't feel as welcomed as a female supporter.
Interesting.
As well. Like, you watch all the things, and I've had, like, guys on Twitter going, oh, look at the state of this and the rest of it. Aye, because you're a man, so you don't have to deal with it. But it's like, International Women's Day. You watch all the clubs, and they get all the women from the football club, and they put out stuff, and that just connects that club, and, and it's welcoming female supporters. We don't do that, or we rely on the women's team to put something out. And it's not their job to make us feel inclusive at our football club.
I just wish there was a heater in the toilet because pissing in fucking cold concrete is not very enjoyable. That's what I would quite like.
You've never stood at the away end of the old Chelsea, Stamford Bridge before it was redeveloped. Then
Was it a piss hole?
or the way end of the Cop. Yeah, well, yeah,
Did you just
exactly
pee?
that.
Yeah.
At the start. See, but you're all right. You can just whap it out and pee. We have to go into a bloody concrete box.
It's crazy.
I would have just
No,
squatting in the middle.
But there's shiwis.
We're going to get a shiwi in the stand next time. If you see my hand like that, I'm like, piss in.
What I'm saying is they didn't used to even have concrete boxes, so that sounds like progress.
Yeah, I know. I always remember John saying when he used to go with his dad and they were all squashed in, and you could just feel like the warmth in the back of his leg.
Like being at an Oasis concert with the cups flying. That's no beer, pal.
But yeah, no, it's just it's not nice to feel that disconnection. I feel I'm slowly getting back to feeling a little bit of connection with the club, and a lot of it's probably just my own experience as well, which probably hasn't helped.
The thing is, you get these groups of people saying, "Well, go and watch non-league football then," or go and watch a different team. And you can't.
It's your football team.
It's your football team, and you just can't change it. You can
Thing
change
is, you're
your wife,
invested.
you can change your boyfriend, but you can't change your football team.
No,
And
definitely not.
I've actually been involved in non-league football as a coach and as a manager, and I've enjoyed that. But nothing in my soul and in my heart as much as Manchester United. So I've been to other games as guests, corporate. I'm sitting there.
Shitey.
How much longer?
Aye.
Can we get going?
Can I
How
go
long
home?
to go?
Yeah.
And they've been probably quite good games, but
So have you got a Man U tattoo, John?
No, I don't have any form of tattoo. I
Neither
don't
have I.
like them.
Have you, Tracy?
No, I do want a tattoo.
Nah, I'm not got you in.
I do want a tattoo,
But
but I don't know if that's just I've gone
I don't know if
crazy
you can
middle
see
aged
that.
woman.
I've got a Man United pen.
Woohoo!
Why is it not red?
God no, it's probably that 1996 away kit.
Yeah.
Is that new? Send us one. We'll send you a Hibs one.
Yeah.
Send you a Dundee one.
That's Old Trafford up there.
We can't see that. We've only got a squash of your heat.
A squash of my heat.
Your heat's tiny, mate. Your heat's so wee.
Basically, she's saying you've got a tiny head, John.
Actually, I've been
And
quite
I'm talking
impressed
with one on his shoulders.
I'm quite impressed actually because I was, we're talking about the game, and not once have you called it Fitba or Fitba.
Fitball. Get with it, John.
Football.
We'll
exactly.
teach you the Scots.
Every time
Fitball.
I've heard a Scot say the word football, it's been Fitba.
Fitball.
It's because we're
Ball.
posh. We're posh, though, John.
She's
You're from Edinburgh, aren't you?
Oh, I
No,
am.
well, I'm Livingston.
She's in the
But
rough.
if I go
She's
to
in the rough.
Glasgow,
Why
people-
do you say? Are you Livingston?
Uh-huh.
What the fuck
I
you
was
doing?
born in
Armagh?
Bangor Hospital.
Bangor, that's a nut house.
No, there was a hospital. There was a hospital. But Livingston weren't a team then when I was little.
Have they had their pitch changed yet?
Yeah, they have. And so I'm Livingston. But if I go to Glasgow, they think I'm from Falkirk. Or as Lewis Miller at Hibs likes to call it Falkirk.
Falkirk. No, wait,
Falkirk.
Falkirk.
Yeah, I'd call it Falkirk.
Yeah. But
Fall.
then I was in a lift in Maidstone in the hotel, and this
Kent.
guy says to me, so whereabout in Glasgow are you from? And I was like, it's really weird how just people just...
Yeah, but do you know what it's like? Somebody going to a New Zealander and asking them what part of Australia.
Australia.
they're
Yeah.
from,
No, definitely. It's like if I'm in the car and John, my husband, phones, like I had like the Japanese captain for the women's team in the car. Now she understands me, which is good going. But John came on the phone, and afterwards and he's Glaswegian. And after he went off the phone, she went, "I have no idea what he said." So there you go. But yeah, I do always feel like when I'm down south and I'm dealing with players, especially when you get internationals and they're trying to get used to
Focus
the
on what you're
English
saying.
accent, and then they throw a Scottish person in just in the mix. They must think, what have I come to?
Well, I'll finish off with one thing I do want to get off my chest, which I think is absolutely disgusting on the subject of disconnect with the club. The ticket I had last season, yes, it was in that bit behind the dugout. And if I'm honest, it probably was undersold in price. You know, it worked out on an average of about 55 quid a game.
Which is
100
good.
quid.
Yeah.
I think probably
That's
it
all
was
right,
on the cheap
that's-
side for where it was.
Yeah.
But I checked for the Arsenal game how much that seat was up for. £600.
That's
The
ridiculous.
robbing bastards.
But it does come with a gaucho steak.
Oh, well.
Do you get chips with it though? Because they'll charge you for chips.
No, that's 30 quid extra.
Fucking, that's shitey.
Good to think what the beer is worth.
Do you get a wee travel rug on your knee when it's cold?
Well, listen, the only thing is I have I don't think there's a gaucho inside Old Trafford, and I have no idea where gaucho is at Old Trafford. I bet you it's a blooming voucher. I don't know. I don't know.
Aye,
But it's disgusting. Absolutely.
The steak is good.
So that's the Category A game. The game
Wow.
against Burnley is up for 360 quid.
Wow, that's ridiculous. Yeah, it's
Robbing-
money before people.
Rubbing.
bastards.
Yeah.
You're more than welcome to say bastard on this,
I
John.
know. See, come up and watch Hibs.
This is a safe area.
We went on a 17-game unbeaten run last season.
Well, I'd be happy for United to go on a 2-game unbeaten run.
Wouldn't we all, John? Wouldn't we all?
Be progress.
If you come to
I know.
Hibs, you get a free ticket to Witherspoons.
Witherspoons.
Witherspoons!
I know.
Do the spoons.
Right, just to kind of finish things up, because we have taken so much of your time. But as we say, we could listen to you all
We need to
day.
get you back on, John.
But we've got a wee quick fire round for you.
What's a quick fire round? What does that involve?
So basically, we'll just
You don't get
ask
a chance to answer. It's either the
first
first thing that comes out your head. First answer.
So
You can only
bit
accept
worried
your
then.
first answer.
Debs will start, and so we'll do a question each. But it's only 10 questions.
You better be quick then.
You better be quick.
Now, we're going to be doing this with every guest on our podcast, and then we'll put it into a league.
Ah,
Yeah.
oh, so it's serious then.
Oh, well, it's as serious as you want to make it. If you want to win, you win.
You competitive, John?
I'm competitive, you see.
Yeah. See, me too. John always tells me I should let the kids win board games and things, and I'm like, you're just not teaching them anything.
That's cruel.
No,
you
teaching
beat-
them how
no,
to
you-
win.
No, you beat the kids.
Yeah.
These bastards.
Not literally, just at the games.
Oh, right.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotta say.
exactly.
Fucking jail.
Teach them how to lose. You see, it's important people
It
learn
is.
how to lose.
Exactly.
Right, you
Otherwise, you
ready?
get taught brats.
Right, John boy. First question. George Best or Eric Cantona?
George,
Scripted drama or unscripted documentary?
unscripted.
VAR, fix it or ditch it?
Say that again.
VAR, fix it or ditch it?
Ditch it.
Dream guest interview, living or dead?
Dead.
But who is the guest?
Did I understand your question?
So if you had a dream guest to interview, alive or dead, who would it be?
Oh,
It's because she's for Livingston.
I can. In between.
I've never met a Beatle, and it had to be John. Has to be
Oh,
John Lennon.
Right. Best stadium atmosphere you've experienced?
Old Trafford and any away game that Man United have played in.
Nice.
Honestly,
First football kit you ever owned?
a Dennis Law, number 10.
Oh.
Night out in Vegas or Sunday pub roast?
Sunday pub roast
Oh, he's a
now.
homely man.
I
Oh,
know.
I can.
Favourite film, not sports related?
It's a Wonderful Life. No, The Apartment.
We can all
The
accept your first
Apartment.
answer.
Jack Lemmon and Shirley MacLaine.
Oh, love that movie.
Who should play you in the John Warrington biopic?
Vic Reeves. Apparently,
he
when I was
loves
younger, he looked like me.
You've dreamt about that, eh? Well, you've been having a shite.
And you can
No,
make...
someone told me that he looked like me.
I'm going to have a look
Vic,
now.
do you care really?
When we were both
like
younger.
Ford for still game.
Oh, you do?
Didn't he with that?
Who?
The big man. Didn't
You
he?
do, actually.
Who?
Still game.
Still game. Have you heard of it? It's up
It's
here.
on
No.
Netflix.
Apparently, when I was in my late 20s, 30s, it was Bruce Willis, but then it became Vic Reeves.
I can actually see the Bruce Willis thing.
Vicky, you know what? Vicky. Do you remember Vicky Michelle?
Yes.
Hello, hello.
Uh-huh.
She said I look like Bruce.
Was she pissed?
No.
You can make a
No.
documentary on any sporting moment in history. What is it?
1999 Barcelona.
So
Beat Bayern
good.
Munich.
I know. The best.
Well done, John. Your time is up.
Dun, 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 dun.
I had one question that I just wanted to ask.
She's got to go and ruin it, eh?
No, I know, but it was just because you're filming and stuff. That's all. Right, for anyone listening who wants to break into the world of TV documentary or filmmaking, what's the one piece of advice you would give them?
Oh, God.
Don't idiot.
Don't give up. Just don't give up. There's a lot of rejection in this industry, an awful lot of rejection. So you need to build resilience. Be knowledgeable. Read as much. Even if it's not a subject area that you might want to make a documentary on. Have a really strong but wide general knowledge. So read, learn resilience, be tough, be able to take rejection, and just bounce back. Don't let the buggers get you down.
Thanks for that. Do you know, because that's pretty much the same as what you kind of tell yourself as an actor, is just don't give up. Just keep going and
Believe
Chris
in
have had 2
yourself.
knockbacks this week. Suicidal soon.
Believe in yourself.
Yeah.
But it's hard work. Be prepared to work hard.
And it doesn't just come for you, does it?
Exactly. Not going to get it handed on a plate.
And learn Scottish so they can be interviewed by you
We'll
two.
teach you. We'll teach you, son. We'll make.
Because it's been a pleasure.
It's been an absolute pleasure, and thank you so much for coming on.
I know.
It's been great.
We need to get a catch up soon, John.
We absolutely do. And I
Preferably
will
not in New York.
A wee bit closer to home.
Well, you know, next time you're down in London, let me know. But listen, seriously, next time I'd love to come up to Edinburgh.
Take you to a Hibs game.
Go to a Hibs game.
Yeah.
And yeah. It's been a long time since I've been to Edinburgh. I should really come to the Edinburgh TV Festival, but I can't this year because I've got a lot on. But next time I come up, I'll come and see you guys.
It's
It's been a pleasure.
It's a date.
Thank you
You won't be
so
calling
much.
us ladies after you've been at the football with us, though.
Well, you never know.
Never been known yet, John.
No.
But no, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
And we're looking forward to the
Brilliant.
documentary next year as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Perfect.
Thank you so much for having me. Take care.
You too.
Adios, amigo. Wow, what an amazing man.
Love John.
I hope everybody enjoyed that lovely wee stories about George Best.
He's really mixed with some big names.
Fucking what?
I know.
We definitely going to have him back on
Yeah.
because
Big
that,
name
I think,
drop him.
Yeah, and I think we've just scratched the surface
Yeah.
with John. But such an amazing man. We thank him so much
I know.
for coming on and wasting his time spending time with us.
Yeah, we're on for ages. But when you get people like John with so many stories,
You can just
with so
sit and
much
listen.
experience, yeah,
Just sit
it's
and
great.
listen. But yeah, so such another good episode. I hope, and as we said at the start, if you do like it, give us a like, give us a shout out on socials.
Don't forget to press the thumbs up for subscribe.
Thumbs up. And if you're watching on your big telly, you just get your remote and you can do it like that. So get
Do
watching
you?
on the big telly. You never watch it on the big telly.
Well, I do, but I normally just...
You use your TV. Well, I've got the wee, what do you call it, the Alexa thing.
Oh, wait, does it not say do you want to subscribe at the bottom, doesn't it?
I think it's got to be
You
subscribed.
can see we're so technical.
Technically minded. We're brilliant. So
That's why we use the brilliant Bulletproof Studios.
Bulletproof Studios, get on their
Got to
socials
give them a little
today.
plug because they do fantastic. If it wasn't for them, God help you, because you probably wouldn't see this because we wouldn't have a clue what we're doing.
No.
But the guys at Bulletproof Studios are fantastic.
So that's us for a month then, eh? Well, a few
Yes.
weeks we'll be back recording because I'm going on holiday. So we're going to fire in a new
Some
one.
people.
Our next guest is Urshug, we hope.
Yes.
Fingers crossed. Is Urshug, who is the coach driver. Not only, as we say, this is not a Hibs podcast, but not only did he drive for Hibs, he drove for Celtic, Scotland, Beyonce, and now that cunt Trump. Could you believe it? So thank you for
that's the time
listening.
that I don't mind that word.
What, when Trump's a cunt?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see, everybody's a cunt.
Yeah. Why did we let him in Scotland?
The idea.
I know.
Because his golf course is shite anyway. Anyway, thank you very much for listening to Your Picture of Mine, and we will catch you in the next one. Bye!